We just published another study now in January 2022 that is exploring indicators of extremity pain of spinal SARS as identified by MDT. So what were the indicators found?
Yes, so within that same study, we also looked at potentially what factors were associated with those problems that were ultimately seen to be coming from the spine and treated with spinal intervention. So we kind of put some, various factors down, and then they were analysed, and the association was looked at. So then we found that we had a couple of indicators from the history and sort of 3 indicators from the examination. So kind of 5 indicators statistically seemed to come out that were worth taking note of. So the 2 from the history were presence of paresthesia, which maybe is an obvious one, but also from the better worse section, or aggravating sort of easing section. Were the symptoms affected by bending of the spine, turning of the spine, when somebody was just still, or when they were just sitting. So were the symptoms affected by that from the history? So you've got those two factors from the history. Then from the examination, you have, were the symptoms influenced when they changed their sitting posture from a sort of slouch position to an erect position and kind of back again? Was there a restriction of spinal movement? And was there no restriction of extremity movement? So those were kind of the 5 factors. And from that, if 2 were positive, 2 indicators were positive, that had fairly good values in terms of sensitivity and specificity. Better on the specificity front. So if 2 or more were positive, it was looking pretty likely that may be the spine, and that may give people, because obviously that's before the repeated movement section of our examination, so that might give people some more incentive to kind of really search the spine a little bit more if it wasn't obvious as soon as we started moving around there wasn't directional preference. Because if you have those factors, many of those people are obviously going to show changes quite quickly when you move the spine around in that repeated movement section of the examination. But if they didn't, then it'd be worth exploring that, taking your time to explore that more, because there will be a higher chance that would be. So we felt that people did need a little bit more guidance. It's one thing knowing that the prevalence is quite high, but it's another thing saying, well, how much time do I spend on this? Do I spend 2 minutes? Do I spend the next first 2 sessions checking out the spine? So this gives people a little bit of guidance in terms of, okay, there are no, indicators from the history or exam. I can be fairly cursory with the spine, or no, there are a significant number. We really need to be very thorough here because this is looking like a spinal problem. And then that gives people guidance in terms of how much time to spend on exploring end range of the lumbar spine and the cervical and thoracic spine. Do we just do extension? Do we do extension flexion? Do we do lateral? Do we add overpressure? And so on and so forth. So hopefully that's helpful for people going forward.